Morning, everyone. Okay, I know I do this every single time I start a new video, but I really just need to make sure that I'm live in the place where I want it to be live. So looks like I'm live somewhere. If you're jumping on, please, there we go. I am live. Um, I think I'm live in three places. Yes. Anyway, moving right along. For those of you watching the replay, you can skip forward to 35 seconds and then we will get into it. So this is not going to be super long. Also, let me just call out the elephant. No, here we go. There's some stuff on the ground. And sorry, but I'm in my bedroom. Okay, so recently, I've been feeling a little bit, well, paralyzed is really the best word that I can use for it, which is why I used it in the title of this. As you jump on, please feel free to say hello so I don't feel like I'm talking to myself because that's always helpful to me. And I appreciate you so much. And if you can click on the little link in the description of the video, that will let you share your name with me so it doesn't just say Facebook user. That would be awesome. So, so recently I've been feeling a little bit paralyzed. Sometimes, in life we can feel like there should be an adultier adult somewhere to help us. And I have been like crying out to the Lord for an adultier adult because it's a lot, immigration and stuff that was supposed to happen and didn't happen and things, it just can feel messy sometimes. And so yesterday, I found myself in line at the Social Security office for 4 hours. And it was a lot. It was a long time. Um, but as I stood in that line, and at first, I was listening to music. I was listening to an Audible book because I'm one of those people who has a million credits because I just can never remember to cancel the membership. So I use them instead of complaining about it. And what I found as I was waiting in line, number one, the line was super long. I mean, I got there an hour before it opened, and in Ottawa, when you get somewhere an hour before it opens, you're like number one in line. Like that's a solid time to show up and you're good. However, it is not the same here in Orlando, Florida. And there was a good 50 people in front of me already. And I was like, what is happening? So I knew I was going to have to wait a while. And, um, and so what I ended up doing was just, kind of just chatting with a couple of ladies behind me, the next two behind me. Um, who spoke English because when you look like this and you live in Orlando, people speak to you in Spanish all the time. And you're just like, no habla español. Sorry. I can speak French though. So I think maybe I'll shift my Duolingo streak over to Spanish because it would be helpful if I could speak the language. Anyway, so these two ladies were English speaking. And, and we had our sagas, our tales of woe of lines. And because my husband and I, we had driven by a few weeks, or no, not a few weeks ago, a couple weeks ago, and it was like noon or something like that. But I was like, let's just get it done. And when we got there, there was probably a good 150 people in line. And I was like, nope. Goodbye. And so it turns out these other ladies had done the same thing. And so we all decided we'll just show up early and we'll be first in line. No such luck. And as as I waited to get this thing done that's kind of been hanging over my head for a while, it was really hot. It was like it was an I mean, I started waiting at 8 o'clock in the morning and the sun was literally on us the whole time. I'm sure the back of my neck is burnt. And it was so hot. And and nobody had food, nobody had water with them. And my husband was waiting in the car with the kids, and they were prepped to be there for a while. So they had water, they had food and movies, and anyway. And the reason he drove me is because I don't like driving on highways. Anyway, And so he had asked me at one point, do you do you need anything? Do you need any water? Do you need something? And the ladies that I had been chatting with had mentioned more than once, like, man, I wish I had some water. And so I was like, yeah, actually, could you get me a bottle of water? And could you actually get me three of them? And so they walked over to Walmart and brought back three bottles of water. And so I gave each of the ladies a bottle of water. And it was such a small thing, right? I mean, like it's a bottle of water. It's not a big deal. But one of the ladies was this older woman, I think Jamaican, judging by her accent, and she was like, "Oh, God bless you," and she was so just touched and moved and so grateful for just this cold bottle of water after having waited in line for 2.5 hours together outside. And and it made me realize that the times in our lives that we feel so paralyzed and so overwhelmed by circumstances that are beyond our control, or maybe are somewhat within our control, but it still feels like a lot, there's still something we can do. There's still a bottle of water we can give to someone who needs it. There's still something that we can do to help someone else that will make us feel just a little bit in control. Like there is something that I can do to improve someone else's life, even if it's just a bottle of cold water. And so I I realized in that moment how impactful that moment was for me to feel like, even though it feels like a lot of things are out of control right now, that is something that I could control. And it also just helped me kind of reconnect with the person that I've been for so long, someone who's always looking to help others. But sometimes when we feel like life is out of control or life is chaotic, we kind of revert and sink back into ourselves and become a little bit sheltered. I mean, that's what's happened to me. And so we forget about how easy it is to help someone in such a tiny way that has such a dramatic effect. I mean, you could see by the look on her face how touched she was that I didn't just ask my husband to get me a bottle of water. That I mean, I couldn't give a bottle of water to 150 people in line. That would be a lot to ask my husband, although I did think of it. But I could help those two people, and that is something. I mean, one of my absolute favorite poems is the Starfish poem, where it's not really a poem in my opinion because I think poems should rhyme, but that's a whole other topic. But the if you've never heard it, it's absolutely amazing. And someone's walking down the beach, grabbing a starfish and tossing it back into the ocean. And someone comes along because there's like miles and miles of beach, and there's thousands and thousands of starfish who are dying in the sun. And someone comes along and they're like, "Why are you wasting your time? You can't possibly save all of these. You can't possibly make a difference." And he picks up a starfish, or she, I don't know, tosses it back into the ocean and says, "It made a difference to that one." And that's something that like, it was so impactful for me to read that, I think when I was 18 or something like that. And and I've always wanted to just carry that with me, because sometimes it can feel like, well, I can't possibly help everyone, so why bother helping anyone? Like, I can't possibly give 150 water bottles out right now, but I can give two to these people that I've been chatting with for an hour. And um and it meant a lot to them. And and really it just reminded me that no matter how out of control things can feel, I still have the control and I still have the power to be a blessing to those around me, even something as simple as a small bottle of water. So I hope that this is helpful to you guys in some capacity. Just know that you can always you can either focus on what's right in front of you and what is going badly, going wrong, feeling out of control. Um, And it's not helpful to ignore that completely either, but you can either totally focus on that and not look at anything else, or you can choose to focus on something that you can do, even in the midst of all the chaos, all the things that feel chaotic in your life. You can still do something that will help someone else, and that will in turn help you. It always does. So that is my pep talk for you guys today. Like I said, I hope it was helpful to you, and I can tell you that like after that experience and after me napping, after having spent 4 hours in the sun outside, um, I felt more like myself again. And I feel like I just needed that reminder of like how simple it is to just shift your perspective, remind you that there are things you can do when it feels like there's nothing you can do to fix this. There's something you can do for someone. And so when you do that, it just helps bring everything into perspective again and remind you that, like, hey, I can do things. I may not be able to do something about this situation in particular, but I can help someone. And so that's what I choose to focus on today. And it actually helped me get some other things done that needed to get done. So that is it. If you guys are not in my Facebook group, Facebook community yet, I would love to have you in there if you're a woman entrepreneur wanting to create impact. That is something that we are doing together in there. If you are already in there and you're watching this in there, thank you for being a part of my community. You have no idea how much it means to me to have you guys in there. So that's it. Jump into the group in the link, yeah, in the description of this video. Have the most amazing day, and remember that you might not be able to help everyone, but you can definitely help someone. And so, if you're looking for people to help, go ahead over to the Social Security office and bring some cold water because I promise you, people will be grateful. Have an awesome day.